Hey, Rainey.
Hi.
Good to see you, babe.
Good to see you. Morning.
I miss you. I miss like being with you and the kids in that house.
I miss you too.
But at least we can see each other this way. I told everyone who's watching that they can ask a question below and we'll try and get to it. But first things first, I know that you and I are both so into like crystals and the moon and tarot. So tonight is, of course, the pink moon. Are you
Yes,
planning to do this with your kids?
for sure.
So
We love to celebrate all the moons, and this is a really special one. So we're going to take all of our crystals, even the big geodes that take like 4 of us to move them out, and we're going to leave them out overnight. And that's one really great way to clean the energy of your crystals. So if you have crystals, tonight's a great moon to wash them.
I do have a crystal. I have many crystals, some from you, actually. And I heard that you need to, do you wash your crystals in salt water under a full moon and set
So
intentions?
you don't even have to. The moon will do the washing
Oh,
for you. So you can do salt. You can do salts and you can do water, or you can just leave them out in the moon.
Ari and Tina have told me that we have to wash them. So every full moon, I like groan because I got to haul all the crystals into the bathtub. I got to wash them with salt water. You're saying here and now, I don't have to do that. I'm
You don't
super
have to. You could just leave them underneath the moon, and that's essentially washing it.
Amazing. So tonight's the biggest and brightest full moon. If you guys want to catch it, it's at 7:35 our time. And it says that it'll be pink, but it can also be like yellow or orange or red.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you set intentions at a full moon? Is that part of your practice?
Yes, and I do it with my kids, and it's really fun. And we just get like a little piece of paper. We write our intention, either a goal or anything that we want, a healing thought. And then I always fold it up. I stick it under the crystal, and we let our crystals sleep underneath the moon that night. And then we remove them in the morning. And then usually we have a little box where we put all of our intentions. Right now I've been in the house, I have a gratitude jar. So I have my Buddha, my gratitude jar with the little pen and little papers so that the kids can come up and put something in. Every morning I put something when I'm making before breakfast, just to try to keep perspective on everything that we're going through right now.
Exactly. I love that. Our family I knew used to always do, instead of praying at dinner, they would do what they were grateful for and go around the table.
That's what we do. We do that every night. It was so touching. The other night, my 5-year-old daughter, Viviana, said, I want to start. She often wants to start. And she said, I'm grateful for Mama and Papa and Nona and like everyone at the table. And then she said, and right now we have to help the people that don't have enough food to eat. And my
God.
And I like, we were like high-fiving.
She's so cute.
She gets it.
Yeah, she gets it, and she's managed to like stay sane in this. She's always on your Instagram saying the most beautiful things and giving tips and jumping off of furniture. She's managed to keep really positive, which is what I love.
She was screaming the other day outside, I need a nanny. And I didn't post it because I was like, it's so funny, but at the same time, it looks like mom is really failing. She's screaming, please, can I get a nanny? I was dying.
Well, her nanny's like her best friend, you know. I mean, they're really close. So
Her grandma, yeah.
Yeah, it's her grandma. So grandma's not at the house.
No, grandma is.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
She lives down the street, but she just lives with us. And it's just safer now, so for her to be here.
Well, we're going on a month of quarantine. Let's get to listings because.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Let's go to your listings because you've got some amazing ones. Tell us about 940 Oakmont Drive.
Oh my gosh, I love this house.
I do too. It looks like it's out of a movie.
It is. It's really perfect. If there's ever such a thing as a perfect house, which there really isn't, but this is spatially and finish wise, and the construction. It was built for a family, by a family, a really just spectacular family, very well educated and thought out people that basically have built every home that they've lived in. I mean, I'm sure there were homes that they didn't build, but this was like the second or third home that they'd built for themselves. And they built every room and every storage unit and every closet is just so methodical. And then it looks like it was just built. And I think
Look at this staircase. This is
yes,
to
Philip
die for.
Bertok was the architect, and Philip Bertok is known spatially to do some really fabulous things, and he usually does a spectacular, um, purposeful staircase. It's feng shui approved. It's never like right there in the front. It's always kind of tucked to the side. He usually does a light well on top. This is like the fourth home of Philip Bertok's that I've ever sold. The first house that I ever sold of his was one that the actor Jeremy Renner and his brother Christopher Winters are they're developers on the side, and they that was how I met Philip Bertok. They had hired him.
It just feels like it's out of a movie. Like everything is so well thought out. And if Jeremy Renner is buying it, you know it's good. It's amazing taste. Look at this. It's do you sell a lot in Brentwood or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of low key in Brentwood. I mean, I think that it's funny that you say that because people have said to us, oh, we don't do that much in Brentwood, but we do a lot in Brentwood. We actually have had some major sales in Brentwood, and we just sold something on Rockingham a few weeks ago. But, you know, before all this went, actually, it was like almost 2 months ago now. Yeah, we've sold a lot in Brentwood.
And what do you think about like this? It also has an amazing office. Like, do you think?
Oh, that office is incredible, and that's on the second level. So if that's, you know, let's say the wife's office, she walks across from her bedroom. She doesn't have to go downstairs. Just every bedroom's in the right place. The thing about this street of Oakmont, it's very secure, very safe. So there are a lot of really prominent people that live next door. All of the houses on Oakmont are gated, and Oakmont itself has cameras lining the entire street. So
Wow.
This is off of Lower Mandeville Canyon. A lot of people don't know that. They don't know where it is. And it's there's just a handful of houses there, and it's a really, really special street.
I love it. Look how big this lot is. Like,
the lot's huge. Yeah, it's over an acre. I mean, you could do a zip line in the backyard. Like kids, this is like the ultimate family home, but yet it's not ostentatious. It feels really manageable, and it feels very homey. And it just doesn't feel like, you know, it doesn't feel like this over the top mansion.
And what about this bathroom? Tell us about. It's so perfect. It just looks like it's out of a magazine. Everything is spacious.
What we talked about, how when you were asking us about how we develop, we just develop from experience, and then instead of being a developer and just, you know, slapping things, it's like you're a developer, you coin yourself a developer, and you build houses. This is similar to the way that we've started to develop, is by living and experiencing and noticing the voids. And this family built this, like I said, it was their second or third home that they built for themselves. So they knew all the right and wrong things to do. So anybody that inherits this house, is really getting, hi Roman, is really getting an amazing house. It was built by the Gordon Gibson, and again, Philip Bertok was the architect.
It's stunning, and it's going for $16.9 million. You have it co-listed with Mick Partridge, also at Hilton and Island.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, I just thought it was so picturesque. We had to get it on the show. We do have some questions coming in. How are you talking to buyers agents that have clients who are worried about buying right now? That's from
How
Michael.
are we talking to buyers agents?
Yes, that have clients who are worried about buying right now.
Well, here's the thing. If you need to buy right now, it's a great time to buy. Interest rates are low. You're going to be able to negotiate a fantastic deal. It's a wonderful time to buy. Prices haven't totally plummeted, so, you know, don't come in with an expectation that it's 50% off. It's just not, because the market is still going. And it's again, it's like tangible assets. It's much safer. It's much more sustainable than the stock market. There's always a need. Everybody needs a home. And, you know, right now during this quarantine, I think people more than ever are realizing the flaws of their home, or maybe we'd like something lighter, maybe something brighter. You know what? We actually do need another bedroom, or whatever it is that you need and you want is your desire that drives the market. A seller's desire drives the selling market. A buyer's desire drives the buying market. And there are needs that will always have reciprocity, and that's what we're always going to experience. So if there's buyers right now and they're calling you saying they want to buy, don't discourage them, because it's as good a time to buy now as any, especially with these interest rates.
Well, I think that what he's saying is the clients are worried about buying right now. So what you're saying is focus on the positives, focus on the market and what's driving it and kind of why they're searching in the first place. You're welcome, Michael Reiser, who asked that question. Let's go on to the next listing, and then we'll take another question.
Okay.
This one is in Truesdale, 1088 Hillcrest Drive. I've seen this house. It is stunning, so I wanted to get it on the show. Tell us about why this house is important to you.
I love this house so much. I think it's probably in its price range, and for the quintessential Truesdale home, this is the best thing on the market right now. It's a family that uses this as a second home. So it's the perfect size for that, or it's the perfect size if it's your primary, if you're just a couple. I actually have right now a family that's interested in it, and they actually have a child. It's under 5,000 square feet. It's actually like 4,400 or something like that. But it's the one level living of Truesdale. Just really spatially works, and it feels a lot. It lives bigger than it actually is. So it has even a little gym if you want. There's 3 or 4 bedrooms. It depends on how you want to do it. And then it has a fantastic view. Hillcrest, as you know, is one of the premier streets of Truesdale. That's the living room that flows into the dining room and the kitchen. The flow's insane.
Explain to them the view of Truesdale, because when you walked me through, you told me how every house in Truesdale has an unobstructed view, and you can kind of see it in this picture with the hedges.
Oh, so there's a 14-foot height restriction in Truesdale, which like any other city in Los Angeles, we don't have that, or a suburb, like we don't have that. So Los Angeles doesn't, the Bird Streets doesn't have that. You could get, you could write it in, an agreement with your neighbor. But Truesdale, you're totally protected. So if you bought a property and and your view was obstructed, you could go to the neighbor, and the neighbor is required by that ordinance to cut their trees. So you have a protected view.
We have a question coming in from Johnny. How did you guys get started in developing?
Hi, Johnny. Brandon and I started developing just because we had been selling for many years. And we had noticed sort of different voids in the marketplace that we saw, that people weren't building certain things that we really wanted to provide for our clients. And some of our clients would buy these done homes and then have to, reduce so much of it. So we just sat on the sidelines for many years, about almost 8 years of watching and learning. And then my husband and I bought a lot on Stanley that he wanted to live in and I didn't want to live in. So we brought in some partners, and we decided to do that as our first ground up development. Prior to that, we started with, if you want to start developing, you could try a remodel. So we did 2 remodels in Truesdale, got our feet wet. Remodels can actually be more difficult than ground up builds and more expensive too. But we did it in a way where they were mid-century modern, so we kind of just restored them. So it was just a nice way to get started. And then the ground up build, you really have to be prepared for. And we were prepared. We'd learned along the way. So we watched a lot of our developer clients and friends and what they were doing, and yeah.
That's great advice, because your design firm you just announced recently is called Disco Volante, which is, where did that come from?
It's Italian, and I'm Italian. My husband loves anything Italian.
I love that. Okay, so back to, sorry, we got sidetracked. 1088 Hillcrest. This is the street view.
That's the street view, and it has a window behind those 2 little palms. I don't think you can see in the picture. That's architecturally really beautiful. It's a fabulous, really fabulous house. One of my favorites.
I love this house too. And you're right about it being massive, and just, it's 5,000 square feet, but flat. So it really has that open concept living. This is what it looks like at night. It's stunning.
Mm-hmm.
And huge,
Oh,
huge
master.
it's huge masters as well.
Yeah.
And then let's
One
go to
level, the one level living is fantastic. Once you live in a one level, especially when you have high ceilings, you realize that it's the best.
and then we always like to talk about a sale. You like to take historically significant house. So tell us about this one.
Mm, my favorite, the Ennis house.
You sold it last year, and how long did you have it, and why was it so important to you?
Well, it's Frank Lloyd Wright, who's one of our favorite architects. It's probably historically one of the most important homes in LA. So it was an honor to get to represent it. It had a really beautiful story behind it. It was owned by Ron Burkle, who as a child, well, maybe like 12 years old, had walked by, and he always loved architecture, even as a young boy. And he wrote a little note and left it on the doorstep. It said, "I would love to take a tour of your home someday." And left his phone number, and they called him, and he told the owners at that time, "I'm going to own this house one day." And he did, and he took great pride in it. He actually never even lived in it. He restored it back to museum quality, and it does have museum rights, so you have to show the home. You have to make it available to show. I think it's like 12 times a year or something like that. And he, of course, he honored that. Anybody would have to. And it just, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's perched right out over the view, and just seeing that this structure is still here, existing today, and probably in better shape than ever because of what Ron Burkle did to restore it. He did a $14 million restoration on it.
Wow. And you
Piece of
got
art.
for a record-breaking price for a Frank Lloyd Wright. You broke the record for highest sale of a Frank Lloyd Wright home ever. So we have another question, and this is something that has to connect to the times right now. How are you connecting with your clients right now when you can't see them or touch them? You can always call them, but like, what are you doing to kind of like reach out and let them know that you're thinking about them?
Yeah, that's so important because right now, more than ever, we're looking to our advisors, right? And we like to say we're not just agents, but we are portfolio advisors. So that is really how you make your clients the millions and millions of dollars that you have the ability to make in residential real estate in Los Angeles. So when you're advising properly, and that's a continuum that just doesn't stop. So right now, more than ever, I think a lot of our day is speaking to people on the phone, group text messaging, letting them know that we are here and that we are going to get through this, and reminding them of the resilience of Los Angeles, because we have lived through the greatest recession of our time, which was 08, 09. It was a very active sales year, which was like the end of 08 and 9 became a really huge sales year, a lot of buying opportunities. And then, of course, we lived through the floods and the fires, and Malibu went through so much and was completely unfazed. I mean, there was not a time when people weren't looking, and even now, I mean, numbers are still staggering in Malibu. So we live in a very resilient market, and I think that that's really important to remind our clients that we will get through this, and we're predicting a very, very busy summer. So, I think everyone needs to be really ready, have visibility on their properties, and get ready to have a massive summer. July, August is going to be huge.
That's nice. That's good. We could just like lay low right now and then have a massive big July and August, which are always big months anyways here in Los Angeles. But you're so right. Like this market, LA market, has survived so much, and you guys have really seen it through all the waves and all the storms.
Well, you know why, Alex, too? It's like if it is
okay.
not disturbed. If you lived in, let's say, New York City, where it's a very dense, very vertical city, more than ever during this time, you're thinking, wow, Los Angeles, even just by seeing the reports on how we're able to sustain this pandemic because we're more spread out. So we've been getting a lot of calls from our New York clients and people that are looking to make Los Angeles more of their primary because of that alone. So
they're realizing how small their place is in New York, and they're like, I want space.
And how dense it is, and how, like, we have air here. You could, we have smog, but we also have, we have air. You can walk, you can move around. The city is so vast.
Mm-hmm. We have one more question. I don't know if this even relates to Williams & Williams. What are you telling your tenant and landlord clients? Do you have commercial clients that you're having to guide through this?
We're not really dealing with a lot of commercial clients right now. We specialize in residential.
I also specialize in residential, so I totally get that. And so I guess, to end it, we always ask you like one random question. Let me get my random question box. Hold on.
Alexander Rodriguez is asking for residential.
Yes, for residential.
Like a tenant landlord. I think, it's situational. It's like if you have the ability to pay your rent, you absolutely should. This isn't a time where every excuse should come out because you're trying to, take advantage of a hard time. If you are experiencing a time that you can't pay rent, then that's when you go to your landlord and you try to negotiate with them. I love what the Brooklyn landlord did, where he made his rent for the entire building free for the month, and that's a beautiful thing because his tenants obviously got hit hard, and he had the ability to do that. But what do you think the real estate market will be like in a year from now? Okay. Yeah. Hard to say, but I think, again, there's going to be a lot of buying opportunities. And I think what happens in Los Angeles is, even if we get down a little, the amount of wealth that comes here from all over drives it right back up. So
I also think
that for us in 08, 09.
Yeah, I also think that, a year from now, there's going to be a lot of people, like you said, moving from New York and San Francisco and other places, other dense cities where they want more for their money.
Absolutely.
Family. Like, you're seeing that a lot.
Listen, we had the state tax increase.
Mm-hmm.
It phased nobody. I mean, everybody complained about it, but we're like, oh, the weather tax, like, what? It's the most beautiful place in the world. Where else are you going to live?
Yeah.
So you might have to pay a little more for this incredible city. But like I've always talked about with you, it's like we've never reached the $5,000 a foot. The Miami prices, the steep vertical. Build it up. The numbers go crazy, and then you kind of like, our numbers are sustainable. We $3,000 a foot is a high number here. $3,500 a foot is record breaking. So, we just are lucky in that way that we have a very sustainable market.
Well, and I think that will go up with the rise of vertical living too, because places like 8899 and the Addition, they're commanding almost $3,000 per square foot. And that's vertical living. That's nothing, compared to.
But again, it's like, okay, $3,000 a foot. It's not $5,000 a foot. You know what I mean? So it's like the numbers in New York that just kind of double our numbers here are, of course, that what goes up must come down. But we always gradually have grown, and we've been very stable for many years. So I am very optimistic about this market. We, of course, are going to see fluctuations. We are, of course, going to see buying opportunities. And, if you're leveraged, you're leveraged. And if you're liquid, you're liquid. And cash has always been king. So, if you're leveraged, you find a good time to exit and you get out, and then you get back in, you get right back in, because it's going to be the best time to buy.
And what are you seeing with the vertical living? What do you think of Mary Anson-Born is asking about vertical living, like Century Plaza, 8899, the Addition. How do you think that's going to change LA, and what do you think of those new developments?
I especially love the 8899 Beverly. I love the location. I mean, Gayo's is one of our favorite restaurants. I could see myself living there and walking around. I love Century City. Brandon and I used to live in Century City before we got married, and we loved it. And he said the other day, it was funny, he was like, I miss Century City, because driving home when you live in Century City and just driving down Century Park East or Avenue of the Stars with the fountains and the lights. It's really beautiful, and it feels very urban. It feels a lot like New York. So I love those buildings. I love the addition. We sold the penthouse in the addition. There were two penthouses. One was, of course, appointed to Howard Lorber, and the other
Yes.
we sold to our client. And the construction, the quality design there is fantastic. And Marianne, to your point, the Century Plaza, the new development in Century City is, I think, first rate. And I think, yeah.
I'm so excited about 8899 and seeing it come together. And when I walked the addition, I knew that you guys had sold the penthouse, and that just is so the Williams and Williams look as well. So, Darren Priest says, Rayni, you're an incredible example of a true luxury agent.
Thank you.
Okay, well, to sign off so that we can get ready for our pink moon, don't forget, tonight, the pink moon at 7:35. You'll be looking at it with Rayni and her family in spirit. And also, you guys follow Rayni at Williams and Williams for more. She is always posting the best listings, and she's got amazing insights, and she comes on every week. Johnny, we'll get to your question next week. This question is, what stereotype do you completely live up to?
What stereotype do I completely live up to? Oh my gosh.
I know, that's a hard one. I'm going to say sexy Italian woman, like
oh,
feisty,
wow. You know,
long, beautiful mane.
I don't know. You tell me, Alexander. You know
I did. I think a stereotype that you live up to.
Imelda Marcos.
Imelda Marcos. My husband says Imelda Marcos. Come over here, babe. Let's see you.
That's right. Let's see you. Oh, let's see who's in your realm. Tino, Ari, come say hi.
Oh, Tino.
Tino and Ari, they're in their workout gear because they were doing yoga this morning. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, babe.
Hi, sweetie. You look great.
Oh, you look great.
Oh, here comes
I've
Ari.
been loving the show, by the way. We tune in all the time, either on camera or off camera from a distance.
Oh my God. Hi, Ari. I want to do yoga with you.
Oh, we're sending all of you guys so much love and light and health and happiness.
Thank you.
I can't wait for our yoga moment.
Yes,
I can't wait. We'll do it soon.
Awesome.
Perfect.
These are my quarantine family. We're all stuck together, but we love it.
Love you guys.
Rayni, thank you for taking the time today and sharing all your insights with everyone. You're one of our favorite guests. People love to have you on. So thank you for your time, and I will talk to you very soon.
We'll talk soon. Lots of love. Stay well.
Bye.
Bye.
Then.